Hi everybody. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. A while back, some of you asked about some more about me and how I got into skateboarding. So we're going to take a little journey. We're going to go all the way back and I'm going to explain my boarding journey to you. I got my first skateboard when I think I was around second grade, so 7 or 8 years old. And I had one and my sister had one. And of course, I liked the one my sister had better. And I started out with it just kind of messing around in the garage and like on the sidewalk. And I didn't really do much of anything, but tried to ride it, tried to do like kick turns and spins. Pretty sure this is the board I had. It was a kamikaze board from like the mid 80s. Then from there, I think around 1988, I was skateboarding in the driveway and going from the driveway into the street. And I was trying to do something to get the board into the air. I think I had seen like an ollie on TV, but didn't understand how that worked. So what I ended up figuring out for myself was how to do a boneless. I think that was the first skateboarding trick I probably ever did. And now I want to take you on a little trip. I've lived around the western United States. I grew up in California outside of the Sacramento area, and so we're going to zoom in there into a neighborhood. This neighborhood was actually my friend's house where I started skating with him in 8th grade. So that was going to be around 1990, I would say. And I got my first like real skateboard, like a board for like doing tricks and learning how to do things like an ollie, which eventually I did get. And I just messed around over and over again in my friend's cul-de-sac by his house. Got that ollie, got like power slides a little bit, and I did this weird version of a no comply. And so just the other day in the garage, I was trying some of these things out that I had learned a long time ago. Got a couple nice power slides, one to regular, one to fakie. That was kind of cool. And I tried the weird no comply thing, and I realized that basically I was doing a no comply backwards, because I used to do that. I used to step off and then kind of hop back on. And I realized that's not how you're supposed to do it, but that was what I used to do. And since I've done it now, I discovered it was actually a lot of fun. So now we're zooming up north. I went to school in Idaho. I went to University of Idaho, and there's a tiny little skate park there. I never actually skateboarded here. When I went to college, I went through a little bit of a drought with skateboarding, and I started doing inline skating a lot. So I skated here a lot on inline skates. But the whole time, I've always snowboarded as well. Around that same time I got my skateboard in 1990 was when I got my first snowboard. So I've been snowboarding for well over 30 years. Then from there, my wife and I moved to Steamboat Springs in Colorado, and there's a tiny skate park there. Again, I was doing inline skating here, made a lot of progress, had a lot of fun doing that, and also snowboarding the whole time. That's part of the point of moving to Steamboat. They have a really great mountain there, and we snowboarded quite a lot. Then we're going to move again. We're going to go back to California, and at this time, I still hadn't skateboarded for a little while. I started working at this school right here. And while I was teaching at this school, I was also part of the after-school program, and doing that on Fridays, I got to start a skateboard club because there were a bunch of kids that were into skateboarding, and so we got to skate once a week out on the playground, and I got to skate with them. And so messing around with junior high kids on the skateboard, I got better. I improved my ollie. I could ollie up a curb, and then I got front 180, back 180, a pop shove it, and even I think that was the place I got my very first heel flip. And so I got a couple of these flat ground tricks, and then I started going to a skate park for my first time. And so the skate park in Redding, California was the place that I went to. And so we're going to zoom down there on Google Earth. I started trying to ride like ramps and little transitions. At this park, the skate park in the northern part that has a different color cement, that's what used to exist at the time. The one on the southern end is all brand new. I've not seen that ever before, and hopefully someday I can go back and actually skate the rest of it. But this park was really good for me. I learned how to skate transition. I got a couple of transition tricks like 50-50s and like rock to fakie and a couple things like that at this park. So now we're going to jump again. We're going to go east. We're going to go to Utah this time. My wife and I went to grad school at Utah State, and here's the skate park in Logan, Utah. It's actually a really nice park, good bowl stuff, and some other elements around the side. Mostly here, I was just like into bowls at the time. I was carving a lot, doing some little transition tricks, but not a lot of things with like ollies and stuff. Like for some reason that kind of fell away. But the other fun thing I did while I was here was I got into longboarding because the university is way up on this hill and everything else is downhill. So when I would leave school for the day, I got to carve hills all the way home on a longboard. And that was really fun. So I was still skateboarding, doing it a little differently, but still having a good time. And finally, here's our last move. We're going back to Colorado. This is my local, this is the skate park closest to me in Granby. And this picture is kind of funny because it's the old skate park. The Granby skate park used to have old, like wooden skate light features, and they were falling apart. They were really bad. And only last year or year and a half or so, we got a concrete skate park put in instead. And that's really nice. But this is the area that got me back into skating, and there was a little flat bar rail that I got my first board slide on at this park. So over the last 8 years or so that I've lived in Colorado again, I've been skating on and off at a couple of local parks because my son and I would go to skate parks. He would ride his little bikes and things like that. But recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, he's gotten into his scooter, and so he wants to go to skate parks more often. I go with him. And then I really started getting back into skateboarding because of that, because I was spending just so much more time on the board. And I got hooked on a couple different things, elements at some parks as I started to realize that I can do things like ollie up onto a mani pad, do a board slide on a rail. Like once you get a few small successes, it just starts to snowball and you want more and more and more, and you work harder and get more tricks. And so over the last 2 years, I've progressed way more than I ever have on a skateboard. I guess when I really got back into it, I was 43. Now I'm 45, and I'm still going, still pushing myself, still trying to learn as many new things as I can. And so I think that's it. I think that's my whole history of skateboarding, boarding in general, because there's a lot of snowboarding and other stuff in there too. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.